Right, this is another video I'm going to do on a game I had. Haven't done a video for a while, so hello to everyone out there. Just to let you know about something before I'm going to do this video, I hope you looked at the last post on GingerGM. Everyone who brought the Killer Dutch DVD, well, I'd like to thank, because obviously the more people we get to buy it, the more chance there is we're going to make another one in future. We've got another one lined up to film in a couple of weeks. I don't want to give away the title, but it's quite exciting, so thank you for buying it anyway. If you did buy it through GingerGM, I'm also offering a free service where I'm going to send out either a chess-based file or an ebook of all the material in that DVD for you for free. So you can save that on your computer, and that will mean you can look at that on your chess base or in Word at your own leisure as well. So this is a free service we're going to offer just because it's our first DVD, and hopefully you'll be happy with that. Anyway, on to the game. In this game I was playing McMichael. It was in the Middlesex League. I was playing for a new team, Hendon. So we're playing against King's Head. I was pulled into the board 1 position, and in this game I had the Dutch defence, but I was on the white side of the Dutch. So I started d4. My opponent played e6. This is the move order I choose. This avoids a lot of the sort of early bishop g5s and stuff like that. I now played knight to f3, because I had a suspicion that he played the Dutch. I think I had black against him about 15 years ago, even when he played 1f4. So that's all the opening sort of theory I can remember. And now my opponent played f5. So, of course, I've recommended an early h3 in these positions in the past, but here I thought I'd try another very interesting move. Now, the move I'm about to play here is probably one that many people haven't seen, e4. Now, what is this crazy move? A lot of you must be thinking. Well, this is really a gambit that I think only Nigel Povah plays. I've seen him play it a number of times in league chess, and it's extremely dangerous, a gambit. I mean, especially if black doesn't know what he's doing, and it's also not very well known. So I think I covered this in the DVD and in my book. But black has to play very carefully here. Let's see what happened. Well, my opponent took the pawn, which looks logical. Knight g5. Attacking the pawn on e4, so my opponent defended the pawn, and now went f3. So this is the first critical moment for black here. My opponent took on f3, which actually opens up a lot of lines for me, where I think I've always got good compensation here. As you can see from my mental arrows, I've got the b1 h7 diagonal to attack along, and also the d1 h5 diagonal to attack along, and at some point the f file as well. My knight on g5 is very active, so I've got good attacking chances in position. What I recommended in Play the Classical Dutch here was c5, which is a counter attack in the centre. Now I think this is probably one of the best ways to meet this gambit. For example, after f takes e4, black takes on d4, and now the move e5 is not possible because of queen to a5 check, picking up the pawn on e5. So I think the c5 move is probably one of the best ways of meeting this line. Black should play actively, try to get some counterplay in the centre. McMichael, my opponent, decided to capture on f3, which I was quite happy with here, because I thought after queen takes f3 I'm also going to have quite good players, I've said before. Now my opponent played knight to c6. Now this must be the best move. Develops a piece and attacks pawn on d4. I found a game between Nigel Povah and D. Shaw, which continued pawn to h6, and now Nigel played a very good move, queen to h3. This is a common idea in this variation. You sort of go for the h file, but I mean this move h6 has made some horrible weaknesses on the black king side. Just look at that g6 square. I mean, I really think black's in a lot of trouble here already. I mean, black played bishop d6, Nigel played bishop d3, and after black castled, white played castles, and after queen e8, knight to c3. Now the basic idea is if black ever takes this this knight on g5, then white just plays bishop takes g5, and he's going to have a massive attack, because he's basically going to continue with bishop takes f6 and queen to h7. So this is quite a strong plan here. Anyway, back to the game. After queen takes f3, knight to c6, I defended the pawn on d4. I was wondering briefly whether I could sack another one by just getting on with it, something like bishop to d3, knight takes d4, queen to h3, but I thought that black probably had some move like knight to f5 at some point. I don't know, it's still quite interesting anyway. Okay, c3, bishop to d6, bishop to d3, castles, and I castled here. So I think my opening's been quite a success. I've got good play for the Gambit pawn, so I recommend you have a look at this free e4 move in future if you want to surprise your opponent. Now my opponent played queen to e8 here. I think this is a bit slow. Maybe he should play h6 immediate, but again I was going to continue queen to h3 here with some attacking chances. For example, pawn takes h5, I think gets black in a lot of trouble. Just the bishop takes g5, and now again I'm threatening just to take on f6 and go queen to h7 with a nasty attack. I can also just play slowly here, knight d2 to e4. I mean, look at these stupid pieces that black's got on their queen side here, the bishop on c8 and the rook on a8. I mean, they're going to take a long time to get into the game. So I mean, I would never like to defend this with the black pieces. I mean, it might just be the case that white is just simply winning here. So after h6, queen to h3, maybe now black should play something like queen to e8, and white obviously has good compensation after something like knight to f3 when black has made this. I mean, this move h6 has always weakened black's kingside greatly, especially the light squares on h7 g6. I mean, look at my bishop on d3, it's a completely monster of a piece. But now maybe black can now consider something like queen to h5, and if he can swap the queens off, then obviously it's going to relieve a lot of his pressure. So I think this h6 move was maybe a much better idea. Of course, I don't have to go queen h3, I can also go knight to e4 here, but h6 a better idea. Queen to e8, move played in the game, is far too slow. Just play knight to d2, give myself an option of where to move the knight to. My opponent now played h6. If he goes queen to h5, then I just simply go bishop takes h7 check, which overloads the queen on h5. You can't take the bishop because I win the queen, and if something like king to h8, I was planning, well, I didn't think he'd play this. I mean, he's a good player, McMichael, but I was planning just to take the queen and then take the rook and bring my knight to f3. The idea, go knight to h4 to g6, checkmate. I'm sure he would have stopped that somewhere along the line. Anyway, after knight d2, h6 are planned. Now I played knight to e4, and we can see this move h6 has really weakened the black king here. I wouldn't be surprised in this position, actually, if black is in a lot of trouble here. I mean, my opponent should probably go knight to d5 here. My opponent went knight to e7, and probably now black is just lost. Now I started playing like a complete cretin here. I was far too confident. I think I went out for a cigarette, thought I'd blitz the next couple of moves out, get in the par, have a pint, and happy days. Nice game for the first new team. Always a mistake to think like this. Only go to the bar, have a drink when you finish the game. That's one thing I've got to tell myself. Don't rush in your brain to get to the bar, Simon. Calm down, win the game first. So anyway, let's see how it went. Continue. I went knight takes d6, c takes d6, knight to c4. All okay so far. I mean, look at these pieces on the queen side, completely winning still. And after knight to d5, well, I mean, he could go d5 here, but it's not really going to help black's cause. He's still going to have lots of problems after knight d6 and queen to g3. So I mean, black tries to return the pawn, but now after knight takes, bishop to queen to e7. I mean, queen to h5 doesn't work because I just take the queen and I go bishop to h7, which wins the exchange. So after queen to e7, queen to g3, and I'm completely winning here. Anyway, let's see what happened. Knight to h5, rook takes f8, queen takes f8, queen to g6, and this is where I started playing like a plonker. My opponent took the knight, and already I had two choices here. Well, three choices actually. I can go. I mean, this is a problem sometimes when you've got a good position. You have to find. You've got so many ways to sort of win that you've got to pick the right one. It's not really a problem, but you can. It's not a problem at all, is it really? But okay. Well, I played queen takes h5, which I thought was a simple way to win. But in hindsight, I should probably just take the queen here, with queen to e8 check, queen to f8. And now bishop h7 trick again. King takes, queen takes f8. Of course, I'm completely winning here, but I thought black might be able to struggle on for a bit. And I thought, well, you know, the way in the game, I saw that I had some bishop takes h6 move that I thought was just winning. Don't worry about that beeping, it's just my phone. It's not my liver or anything. Okay, so queen takes h5, queen to e7. And here, well, my opponent took quite a long time over queen to e7, and I thought this was probably the only move. And originally I just intended to play bishop takes h6. In the game, I played this move, bishop to g5, which is a disgusting move. Bishop takes h6 would have been the winning move. I mean, for example, h takes g6, g takes h6, sorry, rook to f1, and there's no way that black can defend this position. For example, I'm just going queen to g6, or if the queen comes to g7, queen to e8, and after something like knight to some ending like this is just going to be completely winning for me. I saw all this, but after queen e7, well, I thought, oh, I've got this very flash way to win, bishop to g5. I mean, this is a problem I have, trying to be a bit too flash sometimes. I played this automatically, and after h takes g5, I suddenly realised that, well, I've just given my opponent the f4 square for his knight. So any rook f1 move, he goes knight to f4. So I was feeling like a complete idiot at this stage. I mean, okay, I'm still doing very well, but I've just muddled the position greatly. Okay, I went queen to h7, king to f8. If king to f7, then bishop to g6 wins. So king to f8, rook f8 check, and now knight to f6. Sorry, knight to f4. If knight to f6, which is the move I originally calculated, I'm clearly winning after bishop g6. And one nice little line here, I thought you could try queen to f7 here, which was quite amusing. Because now if I take the knight, if I take the queen, he takes my queen. But now I can win with queen to h8 check, queen to g8, rook takes f6 check. G takes, queen f7, queen takes f7, checkmate. So I saw this line, but knight to f4, a good move. I should probably go g3 here after knight to f4, but I went h4. My opponent should go e5 here, and the position's actually quite unclear here. I thought I'd have some bishop to c4 move in this line, but it's not clear whether that helps me at all. Anyway, my opponent played queen to s6, and now, okay, it's not so hard for me now. I'll just show you how the game finished. There's quite a nice little combination at the end, which maybe you can finally see. Okay, king to d6, a big think here, and I wanted to stop my opponent playing bishop to d7 when he might be able to finish his development on his queen side, so I played a good move, bishop to b5. Had some other good options, but I quite like this bishop to b5 move. It just makes it hard for black to develop. My opponent played a6. If bishop to d7, well, he can't really play this because I go rook f7, winning the queen. So a6 was played, bishop to e8, b5, so now my opponent wants to play bishop b7, rook to a7, and now I played c4. So I saw this line when I played bishop to b5. My queen's basically coming around the angles to get to the black king. My opponent blundered here with e5. I mean, if he goes d takes c4, the position's still losing. I go queen of a3 check, king c7, all my free pieces attacking. I think I've written in many of my books, the ideal, you need free pieces normally when you're going to mate your opponent's king. If you have got free pieces attacking your opponent's lone king, it's normally going to be mate. For example, my opponent would lose after some combination like this, the rook coming round. After c4, Rick played e5, but he's in a lot of trouble after d takes e5, queen takes c5 check when he resigned here, because king e6 runs into bishop f7 and I win the queen for free. So, okay, so quite an interesting game. Okay, I mean, my opponent, I can't really blame him because he fell into a bad opening there, which he didn't know. So, another dangerous weapon I'm going to show you against the Dutch here. So, hopefully you can use that. Obviously, I played like a bit of a, well, I don't want to say the word, in the sort of middle to end part of the game, but black's position was still difficult anyway. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave your comments in the section below. I will try to return my comments to any comments you have. Alright, cheers then, until next time, bye.